The Tribune's Mark Gonzales answers readers' questions about Jon Lester's fielding problems, their starting pitching options this offseason besides Shohei Ohtani, Jake Arrieta's pitch count and more. Jon Lester has no business being considered for postseason work. I really wonder about the decision to hire him, and now, keep him. But any consideration of postseason for him is lunacy for the 2017 Cubs. Peter Grant, keep in mind that he's thrown a lot of innings over his career and was on the disabled list at the end of August. Combine this with a shorter offseason with less time to recover from his superb 2016 season, and this is what you have. If he regains command of his sinker and cut fastball, he may be able to finish strong in his next two starts and alleviate concerns. But the Cubs have pretty good Game 1 playoff options now in Kyle Hendricks and Jose Quintana. Pretty basic stuff. When you have a guy hung up, you run right at him, make him commit, and then make your throw. Lester could have done that against the Rays and underhanded the ball to either Anthony Rizzo or Javier Baez on the first play, or Addison Russell or Chris Bryant on the second. This is a basic play that I began teaching more 33 years ago. Yikes, Jim Kratky, one scout, told me the bigger surprise is why teams weren't running more on Lester. I think part of it is that he was doing a good job of holding runners by changing times to the plate, and that Wilson Contreras' throwing abilities kept base runners honest. But there's no excuse on those botched plays. I'm curious to see if either the Cardinals or Reds resurrect taking big leagues and daring him to throw to first. I find it rather humorous that no sports writer wants to say how badly Lester needs a shrink after his performance at the game. He could hardly throw to first or third. How can a professional ball player get away with being totally unable to either pick a man off or allow a walk become a double every time a man gets on base without being sent for help? In ridding himself of such a self-destructive habit, Earl Richie Lester's pickoff struggles were addressed immediately after his first game as a Cub in April of 2015. With the help of David Ross, Wilson Contreras and Anthony Rizzo, Lester improved to the point where this wasn't an issue until last Wednesday. I would have been curious to see what would have happened had he faced the Boston Red Sox or Milwaukee Brewers this season, but his pickoff woes subsided until Wednesday. Noted sports psychologist Dr. Ken Ravizza is around to help, but only if the player seeks assistance. If the Cubs are unable to talk Shohei Ohtani into coming to Chicago, what is the plan? To fill maybe two starting position spots. Competition for Ohtani will be fierce. Keep in mind that Chris Bryant, Addison Russell and Kyle Schwarber will be eligible for arbitration, along with some other players getting robust raises. I read for the New York Yankees, who did a thorough job in recruiting Masahiro Tanaka 3 years ago, are hoping to shave some money off their books for next season so that they can afford to give Tanaka a robust contract in 2019, when he can receive a substantial raise. I think they will talk to Jake Arrieta and the agent for Yu Darvish. If that doesn't work, they could take a look at Lance Lynn. But I think we're at the point where they have to move somebody off the major league roster this winter to acquire a starting pitcher under team control for several seasons. Mike Montgomery is an option and has pitched well as a starter, but he could be needed more in the pen. Do you think Dylan Maples will have a spot on the playoff roster? Who do you think gets the ball in Game 1 of a potential NLDS? Do you anticipate Joe Maddon will rely on matchups in the use of Albert Almora Jr., Kyle Schwarber, Jason Hayward, etc. in the playoffs, or settle on one set lineup? Matt Garfinkel. No way Maples makes the playoff roster, but keep an eye on him in spring training. The Game 1 assignment is tricky. Matchups are so important, especially with the Nationals possessing a plethora of left-handed hitters. I think Quintana pitched himself into the Game 1 picture, with Kyle Hendricks and perhaps Lester, because of his experience. Maddon will rely on the best matchups, so a set lineup is out of the picture. Will there be a pitch limit imposed on Jake Arrieta on his next start? Cindy McManussi think a pitch count of around 100 would be about right. No need to stretch him further.